anything, I wouldn't say so. I would say anything that kind of like, well, because deep inside you know, like you're aware of the mission, right? And like, and I get what you mean, Michael, where it's like hard to, it's sometimes easy to get lost in the sauce and kind of like start doing things for reasons that aren't what you really want to do.
Yeah.
But then it's like any reason you find to do something will either further empower, it'll just, like I said, it'll either add fuel to the fire, which is what I feel right now, or in the case of it becoming what you said it is, where it like kind of takes over and you kind of like, what's that? The mask gets stuck to your face and you can't take it off. If that happens, then it's like, then that's cool too, because if that does happen, then you will find out one way or another eventually that has been the case all along, and you'll grow from that too. So it's like, shit, man, if you sit there and do things just because you want to do it for your family and no other reason, then, well, at the very least, it will motivate you into a positive direction, at the very least, right? But then if it turns out that that was all illusory and not what you actually care about, then that's cool too, because then you get to undo that layer.
Yeah, because everything is perfect and all illusion is necessary and beautiful forever and ever. Yes, I agree. On that level, yes. But then also it's illusory, so, you know. It's always this paradoxical thing where, yeah, anything bad that happens is great, because it lets you unravel yourself, but also it's illusory, so you gotta unravel it, so it's not that great.
It's definitely important to classify principles upon their level. It's very easy to like kind of communicate an axiomatic truth of reality and not really delineate its level, and it kind of gets lost in like the process of the lesson learning experience. It's easy to like express deep truths of the world that kind of like exist at the end of the story, and take those and place them in the middle of the story, eliminating the action required to actualize that truth. I know I've done that before.
I don't get it.
Like,
I'm gonna be straight up with you, Jack Sparrow. I don't understand a single thing you just said.
I got you. Ready? It's like this. That was weak. I'm sorry. I was really hoping a better fart was going to come out. Anyways.
Take one of your noodles.
Yeah, that was a wet noodle. I'm sorry. You know what? I take it back. I take back everything I just said. Nah, it's like you express the truth of reality. I'm gonna save an example for later, in case you don't get it. You express the truth of reality. Oftentimes, as all things do, that truth exists on different levels, right? And at different levels of the game, some things are true, some things are not. So it makes the game so fun. And if it's easy to express a truth of the world that's true on the ultimate level, but in the confines of your experience looks different or expresses itself differently. And so we often misplace these truths like along the path. It's like a Tetris building block tower, you know? You put a block on one level, it may not fit, but if you put it on another level, it'll fit and the lines go away. It's like putting the cart before the horse, you know? Sometimes truths express themselves differently on different levels. A little tired to remember the example that Michael gave, uh, but yeah, that's my spiel.
James just agreeing with us, dude. Or he's agreeing with me.
What, Michael? What is it you said? What was the truth you said that, or it's the truth that Artie said?
Well, it's kind
You
of the
said,
ultimate one thing that everything is not destined, but everything is perfect and reality is perfect and there are no mistakes. And so that could
That
often
every illusion, yeah, that
that could
every
often be
illusion is
used
beautiful.
to, like, you know, say like, well, me eating cheeseburgers is fucking perfect, so I don't have to
Yes,
change anything.
every illusion is
But
beautiful and exists exactly where it should be. Yeah,
yeah, and it's like, I don't have to change
um,
anything because it's perfect. Well, also, you're still an illusion,
exactly.
and it is perfect that you are an illusion because ultimately you will learn, your immortal soul will learn from the illusory experience and have something to contrast illusion with truth with, right?
Right.
But the goal is not to stay perfectly in illusion forever, you know? So it's like kind of paradoxical. It's not paradoxical, it just sounds like it, right? Like everything else. That yeah, on one level it is perfect and it will probably lead you somewhere. Well, no, it won't probably. It will lead you somewhere where you're supposed to be, like every fucking moment ever without exclusion ever, right? But at the same time, is it something that is illusory or true, right? And it is illusory to do things for other people, right?
Yes, it's as if you're building a pathway, right? You got to lay the stones on the pathway before you, and here you have a stone, and it's beautiful and perfect because this stone will help you build your pathway. But if you just sit there and you hold the stone and you don't place it on your pathway before you, then it does nothing good for you. And then it serves no use as a stone to build your pathway, as ultimately, on its own, it's just a stone. But laid before you on a path, it becomes the path. And that's pretty cool.
I dig it.
Doug.
Doug.
Doug, check mark. That Doug.
That Doug. No, you know what it is also? You know what the biggest oversight in this is, like, okay, you okay, let's try to not rant so hard. Alright, so it's like we came here to explore illusory energies, right? And how did they actually come into being, right? So it's like I think that all right, here's some lore, right? So it's like the universe was all one thing, reality was all one thing, and then it was like, yeah, this is chill and cool and but also this is kind of not boring, but it could be more fun, right? And then so the universe copied itself like a million times and made a bunch of souls, and that's what a soul is. It's a copy of the universe. I don't even like the word fraction because that would imply you're less than it. You're more like a copy of it, right? And so now these souls, now they could, there's a level of mystery between them, there's a level of separation, right? Because mystery is what makes the fun, right? If you just know everything and you're all one, it's cool, but it's like, you know everything, there's no surprise, there's no mystery. The only reason it's fun to talk to you guys is because I don't know what you're going to say word for the next 3 hours, right? But if we all knew that, then there'd be no point in talking. We just wouldn't talk. We'd just be like, yep, you're not going to say that, don't say that, you know what I mean? So now you got souls and they got mystery between them and they have boundaries between them, right? And then but this is the first time this ever happened, right? So they're talking with each other and interacting, but how do they interact? It's like whenever you do something new, it's sort of like you kind of get imbalanced in one way and you get imbalanced in another way. So it's like now with with this aspect of individuation, like everybody is an individual, you have the potential to merge too hard or to become disconnected, right? And kind of like on your own and forget like that you're part of the all still, right? And so that's what I think this experience is for, is to explore all ranges of this like when you individuate and what kind of imbalances can actually happen from that, right? Uh, so, given that, this experience is to learn what it's like to interact as an individuated God. That is what this is for. Is not to merge too hard and try to control another individuated entity, and also not to separate yourself so hard that you forget that you're part of the all, and so you end up in like a fear hatred thingy, right? So that being said, we recognize ourselves as gods, but then in this you have to apply the same standard to every single individuated god, because if you don't, then it's not like the only way you could apply that standard to yourself is by applying it to other people, because you say, I'm not going to merge too hard with you, I'm not going to do stuff for you because this makes a shit ass reality that we are learning in this place, right? Or I'm not going to completely close myself off either, because that's just the other side of the imbalance. But um, just pointing out, that is the biggest oversight, is that we see ourselves as like, oh, we're so woke. I'm not demeaning anybody, but I'm like, oh, we're so woke and like, blah, blah, blah. But so are they. Like, they have to be. Like, the only way you can be woke is if they can be woke in that sense. Like, that you have that standard shared between you. So it's like, there's no reason to feel bad for them. Like, there's some sort of like, oh, you poor little sheep that need our guidance. Fuck you. You're not a poor little sheep. You're a god. You're literally on the same level as me, or are supposed to be. So it's like, just upholding that for ourselves is part and parcel of upholding that standard with them. And to that end, there is absolutely nothing that you should do for them, and anything that you try to do for them is, in a sense, uh, robbing them, really, and robbing yourself. It's just like missing the point of the whole thing, you know? It's just like a lot of the time we see them as like less, like, how to say, they're stupider. Like they're objective, like a dumber consciousness. But it's like, ideally, it's like I can't, you know, cater to that, and you shouldn't cater to that, because that's just remaking the same imbalance in yourself, right? And so yeah, that's one way to look at it. Just wanted to bring attention to that. They are not victims. They are literally in the perfect ass position to experience everything that they need to in this temporary dream life. It's a temporary dream. Um, and yeah, so it's all gravy in a sense. And so that's another reason why I don't think it should be a motivator, because if it is a motivator, then that understanding is, or understanding is, forsaked, right? Forsoken, forshook. That was longer than I wanted, but it was all necessary to say, I think. The lore part, I was thinking, do I include the lore part? And like, yeah, because that's like sets the stage for the whole thing. Yeah.
I know. That's all.
I like it. I like it.
Hold on, I got going for you. Yeah, man, I feel you.
Thanks, Jack.
Fuck you.
Thanks, Jack.
Yeah, facts, bro.
Yeah, facts, bro. Alright, ready. Damn.
No way.
Oh, you feel me, little Brewster?
Word.
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 That's good.
Nailed it.
Nah, but I think the ultimate, like, staple, disingenuous one of those responses, I feel you. I feel you.
It's the most standard one. No, I feel like word is the worst one. At least I feel you is like I hear you, basically. Is that.
Nah, but I would say I have beef with I feel you, because it's like, bro, if you're responding like that, you very clearly don't feel me.
Or you weren't listening, really.
Yes.
But word is like nothing. It's not even like a confirmation or a negation of what you said. It's like
Exactly. At least that way I know that you don't give a fuck. But if you're gonna
it's a
say I
horrible
feel you and
equivalent.
pretend like you feel me, just get the fuck out of here. Get out of my domain, fucking plebeian.
No, I feel you is like it's like a willingness to engage in the energy. Word is like I literally wasn't listening and don't care, but am not man enough to say that.
I feel you might be the same thing, depending on the situation, on the context.
You're right. You're right. That's a little more context specific.
Facts too. If you say facts,
If anyone says facts after someone gives you a 10-minute speech, you should actually kill them on the spot.
No, but I implore that this be considered, because it does also leave an air of guilt in yourself that always, forever and ever, till the end of time, that you are not doing something good enough, that you're not sharing enough, that you're not like, oh, I have all of this good stuff, and here I am leaving my poor, stupid family to rot in their retardation. That's the feeling it gives, right? Is that a good feeling? Is that a feeling that anybody wants to live with? No, because it's based in illusion, right? The only real thing to actually fucking, like, work with is the same standard you set up for yourself is for them, that they're getting
Why is
everything
that
they
feeling
need.
illusory?
Huh?
Why is that feeling illusory?
Because it's disempowering.
Let's go. Why is it disempowering?
Because no matter what you do, they will do what they will do.
I suppose if you address it directly, sure. But like, for example, the feeling of I'm not giving enough or I'm not doing enough, when the target of addressing that is yourself, is a very valid notion. Like, I know you're saying it in the byproduct of like you're saying it like in the notion of that feeling being a byproduct of your actions being given to the other person. But it's a valid feeling to say you're not doing or giving enough of yourself to that which is around you or who is around you. Because,
potentially it could be, but it has a limit.
Yeah.
You know.
Because like that, what you're giving is a direct example of what you are supplying from yourself,
Right.
Right. And really the best things that are given to others is that which you exude from yourself. It's like the wisdom that like you lay upon someone's head like a laurel. It's not some like, it's not like a helping hand, it's not a crutch.
Yeah.
It's a crown, and like there is a time and place for dedicating your time and energy to other people. And boy, oh boy, do you learn a lot about yourself in the process. And there are results to be seen from the action, but only when that action is done with the freedom of your energy. Like,
right. But in this context, it's not, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. If any action costs you yourself, it's not like, right, because it's like, the funny thing is, ultimately, that everything of this world is a product of how you perceive it, or what you make of it. And at the end of the day, energy is infinite. It is infinite. So theoretically, because it's infinite, everything is free and there is no cost. So therein lies the question. If everything is free and there is no cost, then you can dedicate all your time and energy to others, right? Because you're not going to lose anything. But then it's like, no, because ultimately the only thing you have to go on is your perception, and the perception is a great tool because it supplies you feedback. And that feedback will supply you awareness. And that awareness will be like, this is costing me. And when you're living in that cycle, you're paying a price. You are putting all your money under the mattress and you forgetting about it and paying for those doctor fees out of your wallet, which is getting smaller every day. Um, but all that is free. And so when you give it freely, when you open up the mattress and you supply the infinite energy around you, then you are giving in the fullness of its extent. But that can only be done when you are supplying infinite energy. You're supplying a bunch of bullshit that's like fear based and fucking, well, fear based, then it's costly. And that's all there is to it. It
I
has to
agree
be
with you,
given
brother.
freely. And it's only given freely when you yourself are exuding infinite energy.
Dang straight. I agree with you, totally. Because that's just a matter of connection, right? And
So
yeah, sharing.
when we were
It's
talking
great.
about earlier about helping people and whether you can or cannot, that's kind of like where my disagreement lay. I mean, I'll kind of have to like consult the video logs to give a little bit more of a direct addressment to what you were saying, but it's like, and I think it harkens back to this conversation which we had so many years ago. I mean, we've had it many times, but I remember a particular instance where we were having this conversation was in your bedroom after that night I slept over at your house.
Yeah.
You remember?
Are you talking to me or Michael?
No, I do.
What?
Mr. Michelle.
Mishinka.
The Mishilka. I know you remember that conversation. His energy was implanted, shared. And it was the context of the same conversation where you were saying to me, you cannot help or hurt anyone. And that's all there is to it, Bob. And I was like, this guy, what's he even talking about, bro? What's he even talking about, bro? I help people every day. Right, but like ultimately there was nuance missing from it's a tricky subject, right? Because like the simpler you make things, the more you isolate the truth of it. However, it's so funny, the idea of simplifying the most complex thing in the world, right? Like there are things in this world that are complex that are hard to simplify, but then there's this thing, this grand energy, which is vastly more complex than any topic or academic field that exists in this world, which can't be simplified. And this grand energy, its beauty is in its ability to be simplified. Artie, get your fucking tranny ass off of my screen. Are you fucking Uwu notices your tranny.
Bro, I have a fucking gargantuan nose, bro. How do people even look at it?
Notices your nose, Uwu.
Keep going. I'm holding stuff.
But although the truth is so simple, right? There is a simple nuance that is missing from that scenario, and that lies in the notion that help or harm is given because of the false relationship shared to that object. Most often being a person. So for the sake of this discussion, we'll keep it to people. That help or hurt is given because of a improper relationship with that other person. If you are helping or harming someone from an infinite energy, there is no harm that can be done to them, because wisdom doesn't harm at all. But it does help. It does help. It's like the nuance being that you cannot help or harm someone by directly addressing them as the object.
Yeah.
You can help or harm someone, which say help again, by addressing them as the byproduct of the object, as a symptom. Disease, you know why health is so cool, the whole health field exploration? Okay, I'll admit, that one's pretty funny. Is because it serves as such a great example for what life is. Learning about health, like what you learn is that most everything that you see and witness as a form of disease or sickness in the body is just symptom, you know? And that's all really like, it's such a good like microcosm for the energy of life, which is that anything you're experiencing is just a symptom of a greater source. And addressing the source requires that insight. And by addressing the symptom, you eliminate the relationship of cause and effect, which exists everywhere. And you are just like, kind of like pissing on a fire, you know? Yeah. Now I feel like I'm just talking to Michael.
You are, as far as I'm concerned.
That's rude.
I don't know. When people start playing on their phones, I get the sense that they're not listening.
Oh no!
Yeah,
The teacher's here, guys. The teacher's here. Put your phones away.
Put your phones away. Take your vapes out. Vapes out. No, you're probably listening hard. And if you're not, it's okay, because I understand you're tired.
No, actually, once I started messing around with the filters, my phone was doing a whole lot of freezing.
Yeah, I did see that.
And I'm still trying to fiddle that away.
Well, I held like
Am
three
I
things.
on your guys' screen?
You're like blurry. But sometimes less, sometimes more. You're like alright. You're like alright. Good enough. It's not ideal though. I'm holding like 3 things, but I lost like 2.5 of them. But ultimately, yeah, man, we're saying the same thing. More.
Did you say I feel you?
Yeah, I basically am saying I feel.
I love it. Thanks, I love it.
But one way I thought about phrasing it and was phrasing it, like just how I phrased it before, is that yeah, it's like you have infinite energy, but if you try to help anybody, then you are automatically becoming a weaker version of yourself that can no longer produce infinite energy. Right. Like if you're doing something that's inauthentic or
if the effort is, I don't even feel like there's an easier way to say it, but like if the effort is provided with that person as the object of your energy, then yes.
Yeah, I mean, whatever phrasing you like.
Because trying to help someone doesn't really imply that they're the object of it, you know?
Yeah, okay, yeah. Just, I guess, externalizing your power to an outcome. Actually, that's what it is. It's externalizing one's power to an outcome. That's actually what this whole thing is about, in general. Not even with other people. It extends to other people.
Wanna come outside?
I think what George meant, correct me if I'm wrong, with like that last thing that he just said is that like it's chill if you're helping someone as a means of helping yourself, if that makes sense.
Yeah, dude, yeah, we're all agreeing with each other. Oh, round and round.
I hate agreeing. Someone say something stupid so I can roast them.
Our families need our help because they are not gods and they are silly little beings that are just helpless in the wind and the universe has forgotten about them.
How dare you? I know you actually believe that.
Hitler's dead. Hitler's dead. Israel is the Jews' rightful home.
Come on, Elvis. Come on, come on, come on, come on. My feet are cold.
6 million, bro.
Gorillion.
I don't know, bro. 6 million reps in 5 sets. That's a little high.
Ha!
Are you doubting Hitler?
Oh shit! Now we're getting to the real power. Yeah, dude, that's the ultimate conspiracy, bro. Nazis who say that 6 million is too high thinks Hitler is some kind of fucking scrub.
Yeah, actually, that's fucked.
No, honestly, I actually don't want to hear any more of these dangerous conspiracy theories that you guys are talking about. You should help your fellow man.
Peddling that. Peddling. Oh wait, but in the context of like going back to the what prompted you to respond to what I said earlier was that the feeling of shame that you're not doing enough for them, right? So it's like that would be, of course you can try, right, if it doesn't externalize your power to an outcome that they have to perform. But then once you do externalize your power, then I was just saying if you don't recognize them as gods, that feeling will always be there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, honestly, it's not necessarily like shame for not being able to. Honestly, bro, now that I think about it, the logic behind it is very objectifying of my supposed family. Is like, it's almost like I'm trying to think of an analogy. It's like,
It's like automatically assuming they're like helpless retards that can't do anything. Which they might be. I'm not saying they're not. But
no, it's like, honestly, the feeling it gives me is almost like the feeling of not being able to lift a certain weight.
Uh-huh.
It's like, bro, damn, you're an infinite god and you can't even bench the bar.
Uh-huh.
Like, what are you, malnourished or something?
This allegory is in relation to them or you?
To the family thing, yeah. That's the kind of the vibe that it gave me.
Yeah, right. I get you.
Which is, again, not to say that, like, going with the analogy that, like, you're doing something that, like, the mission should be about being able to lift the bar.
Yeah.
That could be part of your way. That could be part of your personal road of undergoing the mission. But the mission itself is not to raise the bar.
I hear you.
And so that's kind of how I approach it with the family thing.
Right. I mean, yeah, that is kind of like, I know what you mean. A lot of people don't want to, that's like one part of it that you're touching on, is that it's becomes, once you're like open to the actual energetic truth of the reality, it shows a lot of unpleasant things. That it's like, it could be like, oh, this is my family and I love them, and kind of like make special concessions for them in your energy. Or it can be like, yes, these are people that also cannot, like, just are not even touching the damn bar. Like, okay, let alone lifting it, right?
Yeah.
And be like,
right.
well, this is same monkey retard consciousness as everywhere else, pretty much.
Yeah.
Doesn't really matter if I'm, making special concessions to them or not,
Word. Hey, by the way, guys, I just wanted to submit my. It's not a timed warning, but it's more like my phone is on 10%, and it's also, now that I'm realizing, it's very hot.
That sounds
My
good.
finger's on the screen, and it's very hot.
It's because of that new haircut.
Yeah, so I'd like to bring this to a close shortly, or at least on my end.
That's fine. We're already past my bedtime.
What now?
Yeah.
Leave now?
I'm not even necessarily sure that I'm gonna go straight to sleep, but it's just like I'm also gotten to that point of not very present in the conversation.
Oh, Artie, we didn't even get to spoil Attack on Titan for Michael yet.
Oh no, it looks like we'll have to do that when the final season comes out.
Well,
I saved you, Michael. You see, I was looking out for you,
thanks, dude. I appreciate that.
and that's only for my mission,
I dig that.
bro. I want my shit to curl forward, like those Egyptian niggas that have like the salamander tails on their chin.
You have to do that yourself. It won't do it naturally.
Yeah, no shit. That's why I've been doing this for the last 10 minutes.
Nice.
But see, if I want to look like Kratos and go bald, then I have to make it pointy.
Did you ever consider that Kratos doesn't want you to look like him?
What?
You heard me.
I didn't actually. Did I ever consider the Kratos what?
Doesn't want you to look like him.
Oh, well, too bad he only cost $60. Boy. Actually, no. The gay Kratos that nobody wants costs $60. The cool Kratos is only like $30. This another thing this fucker does is try to open the door, and it makes a lot of noise when sleeping. And sometimes he does open the door and let light in, which really bothers me because I have to get up and close the door while I'm sleeping. Bro. Fuck. Maybe I should just eat him. What do you think?
Eat him, you said?
Yes.
I think you should just, look into your heart for that answer.
Must be the gayest thing ever said to me. What are you typing there, Michael?
I'm typing
Are you cheating on us with a different group shot?
No, I'm typing a concise title for what this video could be called. I have to go through the topics in my head that we recorded and make a title.
I might have made this joke already,
Yes.
but when we have like a bunch of these recordings, like 1,000 hours worth or something, we should just sell them in volumes
Boom.
and just make like an audio book called The Truth.
I feel you. I
Or some
literally
shit like that.
would actually never do that, probably.
Why
it
not? It's
makes
free
me
money.
makes me feel dirty. It's like I'm making
Why?
money on the truth, selling it to a bunch of pigs.
I refuse to share my notes with Chunkrotti.
Yeah, I basically refuse to share my notes.
That sounds pretty fear-based, I'm not gonna lie.
Actually, I'm totally fine with sharing my notes, but that was a good meme, James. But I'm totally fine with it. I just don't want to make money off of it.
Why?
It's just not a good symbol. I don't like how it makes me feel. The thought of it. I don't like it.
I hear you. It wouldn't matter to me personally.
It would actually muddy the message after a while. If I was saying this, knowing that my intention or that a byproduct of it could be that I make money, then that would actually like destroy the authenticity of the message. But subconsciously, even.
Hey man, if I owned a hammer factory, and then all the people buying my hammers didn't know how to use one, and instead of making stuff with it, broke a bunch of shit in their house with their hammers.
No, it's not about them. It's not about them at all. It's about me.
No, right, exactly. Fuck them. Because even if they do that, I will not feel any different about the selling of my hammers.
Right. No, I mean, like, it doesn't matter what they do with it. I give no shit. I will say what I say. It's just the fact that the money aspect of it would ruin the purity of the message. It would be like an anti-allegory. It would be like how to say? It'd be like anti-allegorical to speak freely of the truth because the truth is beautiful and it is what the fuck else are you gonna speak about? Versus I'm speaking of the truth to sell it. You know what I mean? It's just like kind of antithetical to the whole thing, sort of.
Oh, so then why don't we sell it when we stop having these group chats?
Mm-hmm.
Because then by making that intention now, you're like setting yourself up for like.
But what about the videos you've already made? You can still sell those.
I don't think so.
It's whatever you feel like. I'm just saying how I feel. There's no objective anything.
I'm gonna sell them without you, and then not share the money. How do you feel about that?
You can do whatever the fuck you want. I say this through the, you know.
Wait, I already asked a question. Don't answer this question.
I'm sorry, James. I actually didn't hear your question.
What about the videos you already made?
Oh, he did ask that.
What about him?
I'm not trying to like push you in a corner or anything.
No, I wasn't making that trying to sound defensive or something. They're like, different. It's the same thing as whether it would be a video I make today or yesterday or in 2 years.
Like,
same.
No, I'm asking. Excuse me. Is that message muddied? Because there was no intention to sell them when you made them?
Right. Yeah, no, it wouldn't be muddied. It wouldn't be muddied. But also, it would just in general be an unpleasant feeling. It'd be like making the truth look cheap. You know? That this is what it's worth, is to like sell it. It just doesn't make a nice feeling for me. What did you say?
Truth is free.
Truth is free, exactly. Yeah, that's another one. It's like, truth is free, so the fuck are you selling it? It's like the whole thing is like antithetical to all of it on like a lot of levels, which doesn't vibe with me.
I posted an episode of Rick and Morty in the group chat.
Yeah.
Highly worth watching.
Dude, I watched one episode of Rick and Morty at your house, and that shit was bonkers. That shit was crazy, but that's the only one I ever watched.
Which one was that? Do you remember?
I got like a million more things to watch, but if that one's in particular really good, which it probably is, because you sent that one in particular, then I might watch it.
I wouldn't really say it's particularly good, like it's objectively higher quality than other Rick and Morty episodes. It's just relevant.
Yeah. That's what I mean by good, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. No, it's not even like an add to the watch list thing. It's like one day when we're just idling around with snacks, throw it on.
Yeah, I would. Yeah, I'd watch it.
I could totally watch it right now.
I'd watch it with you. No, now. It was too tired. I was tired. But yes, in general, yeah, I'd watch. I'd watch.
Cool. We can do that like the beginning of an next snack or something. I implore you to see it soon rather than later.
Thanks, Trey. Also, we still gotta watch those Smash sets. The shit is bonkers.
Oh, we do, bro. We do.
I wanted to watch them today, but
it's first to say that I'm very much not a fan of Rick and Morty, and so
it's like literally if any person like made the setting for this episode, it would have been the same.
Are you saying there's a message in there that you want us to see?
Yes.
Oh, can I totally put this train track right back where it was? Because I just thought about some more stuff with the family.
Mm-hmm. But in 8 minutes, I'm done.
Say again?
You can, but in 8 minutes, I'm done.
Alright, yeah, that sounds good. I just wanted to say that, yeah, Artie, I feel you, that it's like, it's a kind of a painful thing. Well, it probably isn't the first time you're feeling this, but it's a painful thing when it's recognized, because it's like, when we come out of the illusion, that's when we come out of any sort of illusion, we just feel a lot of the things that are, how to say, we feel the real like energetic characteristics of like what's happening inside of us and like in relation to that thing, right? So it's like if you it's like if you're eating cheeseburgers every day and then you're like, cheeseburgers. And then you like actually wake up to the fact of what the fuck cheeseburgers are, that they're like these satanic slaughter factories where they like torture the fuckers for like 50 years and then they like drain their blood and cut their throats and cut them in little bits and you're like eating them. And then you like wake up to that and you're like, what the fuck? That is like so unpleasant, right? And so in a less extreme example, parents are similar, that it's like when we put this attachment on them, right? Similar to the attachment to cheeseburgers. We put this attachment to them, we overlook all of the actual energetic, like, unpleasantries of them, right? And then so once we actually look at that attachment and how their unpleasantries relate to us, is it just becomes really, well, not really unpleasant, but it becomes way more unpleasant if you still have those attachments, right? It's like you just kind of, instead of it being like, oh, it's my parents, so I'm gonna make energetic concessions for them, it's like, well, this is like, you could, like, ideally, you approach their energy as you would approach anybody else's energy, like that this is your energy, this is my energy, and this is how it'll conduct, right? But that first time of
Disagree.
getting rid of, that's okay, I will hear it out, but the first time of getting into that attachment is unpleasant because you see them for what they are, in a sense, which is how it's supposed to be. There's something else to this, but I forgot. But James, you could voice disagreements.
I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said disagree, because I just like 2 days ago when I knew it would happen, and I spoke up. I knew it energetically derail your train of thought. I'm sorry.
That's okay. I think I pretty much said everything. There's maybe like one more thing, but maybe I said everything even.
Like by like the laws of nature, like you can't treat your parents like any other person. Like it's impossible to. And to try to will probably hurt more than how I am.
No, I mean, like, not in any, just like in an energetic sense, like how much energy you're willing to extend to them.
Yes.
In that sense, I think they should be treated like any other person. Like,
I see what you're saying. I would say my point remains.
Yeah.
Let me just go on the shitter because this poop in my ass is preventing my ability to think. Because while they are just like in a material sense different from other people, they are also in an energetical sense different from other people. Especially in your relationship to the world around you.
Guys, I'm out of here in 4 minutes.
Yeah, so is James.
I think I too. Like when it comes to organic matter, there's all this energy and connectivity in it, that just exists between other organisms of organic matter.
True.
And those layers are very structured and nuanced, and look very different between different organisms. So when it comes to parents in particular, there are different connection layers, different pathways to be navigated.
True. They're kind of like unique energetically in that sense.
Right. And then they're probably, I would say, like the only things really that are any different, other than maybe like siblings, but like there's no really particular predicate to navigate that energy with a sibling, because they're as much a byproduct of the world as you are, Like you guys are like kind of like more on like the same energetic playing field.
I'm not a byproduct of the world. I made the damn world. Get out of here.
Hey.
Get out of here.
Both are equally true and untrue.
No.
Yes.
I built the world with my own 2 hands, and then I sold it for $9.99
And you
for
built
crack
it for
money.
yourself. You built it for yourself to be born. Congratulations, you paid yourself.
For crack money.
For crack money.
I sold it for crack money, James. What are you gonna do about it?
Yeah, that's crazy. I guess I'll smoke it. You got any left?
You smoke the crack or the money?
I'm gonna smoke the crack with the money.
No.
You were right. That saved $9.99 space shekels that you made.
No, but I hid it away.
Great. But the point is that like you were talking earlier about how it's really unpleasant that like the unrestricted energy of that configuration looks or is by nature. Where it's like in a way it's like those concessions are necessary. I think one for highlighting the infinity of the energy and the lack of cost. But also because you will not like theoretically you will not resolve anything without a concession in yourself. If you just like in order to prevent a concession, especially at an early stage in life, say you're a teenager, you're really not concede anything as a teenager, it's very likely going to be an overcompensation that sacrifices yourself in the process.
No, I mean, like, when you're young, I have nothing to say to that. I'm talking completely now. When you're young, it's just like you don't have, not even a fucking person when you're a teenager, practically.
But as, like, I guess I use the example of a teenager because, like, and not a child. Is because as a teenager, you are theoretically old enough. Jesus Christ, I gotta get rid of that bald spot. That's crazy. Theoretically old enough to make those decisions for yourself. So it's like, but still the fact that those remain there and that you're not equipped doesn't mean like forever you're not going to be equipped, really, but that there exists a relationship that's just different, and that energy is different because that energy is like it's much more yours than any other energy from anyone else in the world.
Right. And that's the biggest reason to treat it as any other, I think. Because it represents an old you, more than anything. More than any other relationship, for sure. So in that way, it's actually even more reason to treat them like anyone else. Because then you can really be open to what is their energy and what does their energy do for me. Like, if I go back to my old style of interacting with them, then what does that do to my energy? And really,
when
what
you
it
say
does
treat
is...
it, do you mean like, sorry, when you say treat it, do you mean like receive it?
I don't mean to interrupt you guys, but it's time for me to get out of here.
Alrighty.
On the dot. Jesus Christ.
I love you guys very much.
Love you too, Ed.
Jesus Christ. Love
And I
you.
appreciated your participation. And
You too.
I'm gonna tell the principal that you guys have been really good.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate it.
And you will, I'm gonna do my best to get you some steamed colleagues. Because I want my boys to grow up and be smart and successful and big and strong.
And go to college.
So that then my boys can retire me. Otherwise, they're bad people and should feel bad.
Dude, only if you go to college, dude.
To get more knowledge?
No. Wait, you know that meme with the frog?
No.
It was like, Mom, can I have money? And she's like, to go to college? He's like, yes. And then he's actually goes to Jupiter.
To get stupider.
Gets so stupider. I really like that meme.
The best one of those memes for me is the
It's Nephilim. Yeah.
it's Nephilim time. Yeah. I need to find that. Unearth it from our logs.
That's a classic Artie meme. That's a classic.
Speaking of unearthing things from our logs, I am re-earthing myself into the log that is logged off.
Boom! Fucking, that was a great pun. Get on it.
That was good.
We'll see you,
All right,
dude.
fellas. Y'all have a good night.
You
Thank you
too,
very
buddy.
much.
It was fun.
Did you guys hear that whirring sound?
I haven't heard it.
My phone literally, as you said goodbye, my phone made the "it's time to power off" sound.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah. Save that phone.
That's good. That's good.
Get him out of here.
All right, fellas. Good night. I love you very much.
Love you too, dude. We'll talk.
Peace out.
Let's talk soon.
Excellent. See you.
Good night.
Night.
Do you hate Artie? You didn't say you love him.
I was looking for the meme.
Oh.
I couldn't find it in time.
But you probably said it earlier, so it's okay.
I say it all the time.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Don't really gotta
He's
say
not
it
my
all the time.
girlfriend. He doesn't need to hear it.
Yeah. I know that feeling. Yeah, with a girlfriend, you gotta be like, okay, love you. Okay, I love you too. Okay, good night. Okay, oh yeah, but one more thing. Oh yeah. And then good night, love you. For like 15 minutes, heart, and then you send them some more hearts, and they send you some emoji, and you gotta send more emojis back. And it's like,
Right. That's the whole thing. It's like, you didn't say I love you. It's like, bitch, I just said it like 5 minutes ago. It's like, yeah, but you didn't say it now, bro.
yeah. Dude, that's such cringe.
Like, why would I even bother? You're gonna forget tomorrow morning that I said it anyway, and then you're gonna make me say it again.
It's so absurdly cringe. Looking back on
Hello, cringe department.
Cringe department. Really cringe department.
Deportment.
I was saying
Now,
some shit. But
You were saying that it's all the more reason to treat that energy the same. And I had asked you where we left off was when you say treat the energy. And granted, I had interrupted you to ask this question, so you might have said something after that. But I said, when you say treat that energy, do you mean like you should receive that energy the same way as you would receive other energy? Or conduct that energy?
Well, I guess just when we talk to anybody, right? It's like the question should be what effect does this have on my energy, right? It's like if I were to go to fucking
receive it. So
Rom
receive it.
and try to like tell him that woke shit, you know? It's like, what is this actually like doing for me, you know? Because you could see the energy, right? And it's like you could tell kind of what is acceptable or like acceptable for you to not like come out of your control space, right? And so then they should be treated the same way. Because with them, the risk of falling back into it with Rom, into some weaker version of myself, is like that Rom is that like, okay, I'm like somebody trying to like convince someone of something, right? With the risk of falling that back into your parent, like with your parents, is like you kind of like revert to like this absolutely infantile state, like this like much more weakened state, because it's like they're like the biggest upholders of that consciousness in you, you know? So you can be so woke and then still be like a fucking retard with your parents, because they're the like that energetic configuration is like the biggest thing that still holds you back to that. So that's why it's actually the thing that needs to be addressed the most.
I would say really that has more so to do with that person in that specific scenario being someone for which you have much more motivation to prove something than them being your parents. Like, I think in order to make your claim that you just made
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying.
is to imply that it will always be that way. Like, which I could say from my own experience is not true. Like, I can work that easily with my mom. I don't feel stupid talking to my mom.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't feel infantile. I don't feel infantile talking to her.
Right.
I do with my dad, and the reason is I have much more motivation to change his mind than my mom.
Right.
Whereas, for example, let's say Ram was your investor in your business,
I get you.
which is even still a bad example because it still doesn't equate. But like you would obviously like, let's say Ram is there's no example that I can give that actually even compares to the idea of conserving energy. So let's say Ram is the caretaker of your child, like the most I could even think of. Like obviously you would want him to raise your child right, you know. I'm just like it doesn't. The kid's not even important, right? I'm just trying to think of like a real strong reason to want to prove something to them, right?
Yeah, I get you.
You would probably feel pretty desperate to communicate those things versus how Ram exists in his current state. Just like when you look at him, you think of just another retarded monkey, whom I would piss on if he tried to step on my way of life. Whereas a parent, say, if they try to step on your way in life, you'd probably be sad and wonder why it's happening. Or not wonder why it's happening. You'd be sad and want to help them not step on your way of life. Whereas, say, if someone's your peer and they do that, they can fucking fuck right off, you know, and you'd be happier for it. And in that line, it's like, I don't think, I'm going to repeat myself from before, I don't think it has to be that way with parents. Yeah, that's my whole spiel.
Yeah, I mean, there's more nuances because they're more like integrated. What's up? They're more integrated, like with what's up? They're more integrated with like your situation, physically, right? And like you live with them, but yeah, even like how they view you, I think ideally should be like given with as much care as, or like care, because obviously it's like that is something that has to be worked through. But by the end of it, it's like, well, you don't agree with me, or you don't understand me, or you want me to do something else. Well, so does probably Trucker Joe down the street, and the consciousness is actually pretty similar. And so you are my parents, yes. But you're also just Trucker Joe consciousness. So it's like, what the fuck do I give a shit? Like, basically, that's anything more than that. You know, that's what I'm saying. It's just like not giving them concessions in terms of like excuses for their energy because they are parents. You know, that's yeah.
Yeah, no, that's fair. You like, right? Like you definitely not gonna want like there. No, and I see what you're saying. Like, there's all the more reason to like be like treat it as what it is, like it's in its truest form, which is just energy, like any other. Especially considering that there's more reason to want to engage in that, and also because like the thing with parents is like the only thing that really like in terms of energy, the only difference between a parent and a person, that a peer that you know, is that a parent is just energy with more things wrapped around it. And so you are actually treating them with more respect. You're treating a parent with more respect by addressing them from their like source energy than you are a person, because you are undoing more layers of stuff around it and, and looking deep. Like there's more levels to look deep into on them by doing that.
Yeah, right. Otherwise, it's just like mask because of like parent and child dynamic, which is like
right.
They don't know anything but that mask because they're fully identified with it. They practically live for that mask, you know? And it's just a whole illusory construct that shouldn't, and that whole illusory construct's bound up with us, you know, because we were in that construct for 20-something years, right? And so it's like,
yes.
And aspects of it are still present, right? And so it's like, at that point, it's like a responsibility to yourself to not to completely.
I guess my point is that a lot of that dynamic is really just a product of circumstance, that it is more so like a guarantee of nature. Like if for example, if you weren't living in your mom's house, like she would probably come to you more, you know, and seek out your wisdom more. Can't say the same for your dad because you don't live with your dad, but
dad doesn't give a fuck, kind of.
Right.
He gives a fuck.
But you know, like the circumstance can be different. Like for example, if you were dying of cancer, I'm sure your dad would seek out your wisdom more. You know.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, sure, there's like plenty of nuanced situations, but just generally speaking, it's like I can't really, how to say, give specific guidelines for what to do in like specific situations. You know what I mean? It's just like generally speaking, they should be treated with the actual energy that they have, and not like our conception of them, right? Sorry if I interrupted you.
No, you didn't interrupt
at
all. Actually, I wasn't even talking when you. Wasn't even close to interrupting. I guess okay. The only reason I'm talking about this again is because I didn't really understand when you said treated. I think received is a better word for it, because treated implies treatment of a human being. At least this is how I keep thinking about it. Like that maybe not be the right word for you, but when I asked you about received, you gave a definition that was exactly what I thought of when I thought of received. So
right, yeah, I didn't really know what you meant by those words. Kind of.
Yeah.
I gotta blow my nose.
It's like what connection is there to their energy, and is that connection actually helpful to you? Not helpful in like a material sense, but like what does it promote? Does it promote illusory constructs, or does it promote truth? Right. And telling Trucker Joe to be vegan and fucking woke promotes illusion. Because it's like, I'm just coming out of I'm just like giving away my energy to be like, Trucker Joe, get woke, please. You know?
Yeah, that's all just like a masturbation tactic.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing to share with everyone.
Basically, which is why it sort of just becomes I think ideally, it's like not to say don't have connection with them, but it's like it just becomes way more matter of fact of like, I recognize my energy, I recognize your guys' energy, and you guys will shuffle around in the dark. And I'm here to demagogue my fucking stuff anytime. And I already have. And no one's asking too much about it, so here it is.
Exactly. I think I'm gonna go to bed too, Mikey.
Dude, it's time. This is a good place to stop. I was kind of upset that I didn't. Not upset.